wound to the head, copious drops of blood on the floor.
God.
Police! Stay on me, Drew. Clear. Clear. Got blood in the kitchen, blood down this hall. We got one down, shell casing on the floor.
As we were in the process of obtaining a search warrant, we were able to determine that it was Laura Grillo that was deceased on the floor. Laura Grillo was 37 years old. She was very active in her community.
She was like this ray of sunshine. She wanted to just make the world a better place. She was gonna get married in a week. Laura and John were together about 7 years total.
Together, they have one child, 4 years old, and Laura has 2 older children from previous relationships.
He had asked if Laura was in the house. Listen to me. It looks like a gunshot wound. That is all I can tell you. You have cameras on the house?
Yes.
Do they record?
They used to. I don't know if they do.
Okay.
We did not find any forced entry to the residence at all, and the rest of the home appeared to be untouched. This did not appear to us to be a random attack. Somebody wanted her dead.
Basically, the goal was to confirm John's whereabouts on the morning of the murder.
Just gone through with the police officers and detectives at the scene. I'm sorry for your loss. I want you to know that we're going to find out what happened. Come closer.
When we started the interview, he cried quietly for about 60 seconds.
What would be the motive for someone to come in the house, attack Laura, and take her? No idea. Somebody chose to come in that house. But why? That's what we're going to find out. Did Laura receive any bad news? Lady? No, to my knowledge. Okay, everything was good. I understand y'all know a lady coming up. Yes, you're in a week. In a week? She was a love couple because of the wedding. She was really exposed to me.
John answered my questions that he didn't owe anybody no money, nobody was threatening the family. They were pending a wedding, and he seems to be excited. He didn't stand out to be a suspect.
A lot of the people that we talked to described John as a very controlling person. He didn't treat Laura very well in public. We found out that John wanted out of the relationship with Laura, but he also was trying to maintain possession of his daughter. We were able to gather video surveillance footage from a couple of home improvement stores that John told us he went to that morning in Dallas, which proved that he was actually there at the time that Laura was killed. So we knew that he wasn't responsible for this himself, but we couldn't say at that point that he didn't have some involvement in setting this up.
And we were able to confirm that a short time later, he had met up with 2 workers in his construction business.
Jesus was John's right-hand man, kind of his job foreman, John's go-to person.
James said that he had only been working for the company for 3 weeks, so he had barely met John.
And he texted me, don't be late, whatever.
Don't be late to your
8 o'clock. We were gonna meet up at Home Depot.
Which one?
In Dallas.
What happened then?
Just started holding doors, okay? He pulled up and
He being
John
okay.
John showed up and everything. We started working. Yeah, okay.
Both Jesus and James were very upfront, very cooperative, very talkative. The stories matched.
Jesus seemed a little too laid back, just laughing and joking around in the interview room. Some of that stuff didn't really make sense when his boss's fiance, who he had also known for several years, was just killed. Jesus told us in his initial interview that he stayed in Dallas the entire morning Laura was killed, and his phone records showed otherwise.
And what we found is about 8:26, he pinged a tower in Rowlett.
And the time that his phone hit a cell tower in Rowlett, about a mile from Laura's house, was right about the time that we believed that Laura was killed. We know that James and Jesus were together that morning prior to them meeting up with John. We wanted to talk to James again to let James know that we knew Jesus was lying to us.
You said this twice, that Manuel went to your house about 8:30, 8:45, but I've got information that puts Manuel somewhere else,
Just be honest.
that time frame. Not at your place.
He was at my place.
I have proof that he was not at your place that early.
That's what time he was at my place.
I'm telling you, I've analyzed everything. He was not there.
Still, even as we confronted him with facts that we knew, he continued to deny, but I classified him as a weak denial. We knew that he knew something about the murder.
They still haven't released James.
Hopefully he didn't go to hell.
No, no. I hope not. He was with me the whole time.
They were clearly concerned about James being at the police department for so many hours and what he was telling us. We were able to get in contact with a couple of his ex-girlfriends, a former roommate of his, and these people had direct knowledge about Jesus being hired by John to kill Laura.
Also, we were able to get a tip that Jesus was in Florida, and we provided that information to the United States Marshal Service.
Hey, James. Jim on with the Rangers. How you doing?
James seemed to be very intrigued by the Texas Rangers. He really seemed to like dealing with the Rangers, like talking to the Rangers.
Well, I know that you dealt with some guys, but I'm a little bit different than them because really all I do is homicides.
You actually remind me of the legend of the Texas Rangers that I heard about. But the old Wild West days.
Yeah.
They'll send all these marshals and sheriffs in there, and it took one Texas Ranger to go
One white, one Ranger, right? Okay.
Texas Rangers, they're a legend here in Texas. I think it made an influence on James in order to give more of the truth. You see, his arms are open, he's pretty relaxed, and that's a good posture to move in, to draw in more of the truth.
You're on the edge of the Grand Canyon, right? And what I'm gonna ask you to do is take a leap of faith and to trust me. All right?
You're my friend, right?
I'm trying to be your friend. I'm the best friend you have in the whole freaking world.
Should we go get your pen and paper?
So how's it kick off?
Alright, when Jesus first mentioned anything about this, I disregarded it. I thought he was just on smoke. He shows up in the morning, and we get in the car and we go. The whole time, I'm still thinking he's even when he gets there. Because out, he does his thing. I heard nothing. And when he gets back in the car, what does he say to you? That's all. That's what he said. Yeah, he shot her. You say how he did it, or? He just shot her. Right in the head. Right, but it's pretty obvious that John ordered it. Yeah. Did Jesus ever say how much John paid him for it? He was boasting about something about 15 grand.
Once James finally did decide to tell us what he knew, we were able to take John into custody as well.
Hey, come on in. Have a seat.
This was a well-planned murder, and we needed to close this case. We needed John to confess.
Well, let me cut to the chase a little bit. Jesus is a dumbass, all right? At the end of the day, you shouldn't hire a dumbass to do a job because he's going to screw it up, all right? And if he doesn't screw it up, he's going to talk about it.
I didn't hire the dumbass, that's my problem.
Do what?
I did not hire the
Come
dumbass.
on.
I did not pay him any money, that's my problem. I did not want Laura killed. I tried to get married with her for at least 3 years. I loved her, I still love her.
Say this. I'm sorry.
Oh, I am sorry that my wife was killed. I cried so many times. I mean, you're telling me that, basically admitting that I hired him to do the murder. That's what you're telling me.
Am I telling you to admit that? No, I already know that you did that. I'm giving you an opportunity to tell the truth.
I need to talk to the attorney.
And both John and Jesus were sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. And because James did decide to cooperate in this investigation, he was allowed to plead guilty to a murder charge instead of capital murder, and he was sentenced to 25 years. I was glad we were able to hold the individuals responsible, accountable for what they did.